Presented by 11M Cars. It was the end of an era. The muscle car wars were peaking, Detroit was running out of time, and Pontiac went out swinging. In 1970, they built a car that wasn't just fast, it was defiant, loud, mean, and unforgiving. This was the year the GTO became a monster. In 1970, America was a nation in transition. The Vietnam War was escalating, and anti-war protests were spreading across college campuses. The counterculture movement was in full swing, challenging tradition, pushing boundaries, and redefining what freedom looked like. Richard Nixon was in office, and trust in government was starting to crack. On the streets, gas prices were creeping up, and federal pressure on emissions and safety regulations was looming large. Insurance companies began targeting high-horsepower cars, punishing young drivers with skyrocketing premiums. The golden era of muscle was hitting its peak, but also its breaking point. It was the perfect storm, and into it roared the 1970 Pontiac GTO. This is where it all changed. Pontiac dropped in a brand new 455 cubic inch V8. That's 7.5 liters of straight Detroit rage. Rated at 360 horsepower and a brutal 500 pound-feet of torque, this engine wasn't made for finesse. It was built to launch you from the stoplight to the next block before the other guy could blink. Most engines made you wait. Not this one. Peak torque hit at just 3,100 RPM. One stomp on the pedal, and the rear tires lit up like a match on gasoline. It made the Roadrunner nervous. It made the Mustang sweat, and it made insurance companies scramble to raise your premium. But if the 455 was the hammer, the Ram Air 4 was a scalpel dipped in rocket fuel. A 400 cubic inch high compression beast, forged internals, high lift camshaft, round port heads, and an aluminum intake built for airflow. It was rated at 370 horsepower, but dynos told the truth. This thing pushed well over 410 real horsepower, screaming past red line like a track car that somehow made it onto public streets. With the right gearing, a 4.33 rear, a Muncie M22 Rock Crusher 4-speed, and a pair of slicks, the Ram Air 4 GTO ran the quarter mile in the low 13 seconds. Bone stock. That's fast, even by today's standards. Then came the Judge, a special edition GTO built to stand out and shut up every other car on the lot. Wild colors, stripes, spoiler, hood tack, rally 2 wheels. And yes, it could be optioned with the Ram Air 4. It wasn't just a muscle car, it was a rolling middle finger to quiet sedans and clean-cut conformity. Inside, it wasn't soft. No wood grain fantasies or luxury fluff. It was business. Gauges, tacks, and a Hurst T-handle that practically dared you to shift like you meant it. But all storms pass. And by the end of 1970, the writing was on the wall. Emissions rules were tightening. Gas was getting expensive. Insurance companies were cutting down kids with speed in their veins. The 1970 GTO was the final roar, the last breath of unchained American muscle before the lights dimmed. And if you were lucky enough to sit behind the wheel, you didn't drive it, you tamed it, and most couldn't. This is 11 million cars. Subscribe for more real legends.